So Frank, what are we doing today?
We gonna cook some ribs. Yeah. So, you guys remember the last time you saw me getting in this truck and going somewhere, I was picking up a barrel for Rusty. That's that Rusty build we did. So, we got that build done, and now it's time, get my sunglasses here. Now it's time to go get some ribs to cook on it. I'm pretty excited. Yes, okay. Right on, dude. This is Todd.
Nice to meet you.
Todd. Here we go. Ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
I showed you how to find a barrel, how to drill it out, how to do all the stuff to make your own ugly drum. But today I'm going to show you how to cook on that drum smoker. And I'm going to do these ribs. I went down to the local supermarket and got a really good deal on these Prairie Fresh pork ribs. These are some of the best out there. You can see the marbling. I mean, I haven't done anything to this. This is a slab of spare ribs, which means it's still got the head on there and everything, which is this big bone on the back. I'm gonna do a real quick St. Louis trim on these things, and then we're gonna hang them in Rusty. You ready? So first thing I'm gonna do, of course, I'm gonna open these up, but this is just a really good backyard. It's okay if they're not competition perfect slab of ribs. On a slab of spare ribs, we've got, of course, you got your big bones, and they're usually right in between. You can feel them right here, these big bones. Flip it around so you can see them. This is the big end of the rib cage here, and then they cut this down, and then here's baby backs over here. First thing I do is I identify the top of my biggest bone right here. You'll feel it where it changes from bone to cartilage, right? And then of course you're gonna get rid of this skin flap here. We don't need that. You don't have to throw this away though. You can use it on beans or anything like that. You can cook it down as you go. Boom. And then the next job there is, like I said, on this big bone, we're gonna take the big knife and we're gonna cut this thing as square as we can across the top of that big bone. That's how we trim up. You got this big chest piece right here. Just go from the top of that bone, and you'll see cartilage in here. We're just gonna cut right across that. So we're gonna follow this on around and find like where the last bone is. You can do like, the old 10 bones thing or whatever you wanna do here. Here's a good bone right here. And then this next one here, you got a little tiny guy. That'll be our sacrificial, and we'll cut this end off right there. So now you have a really good looking slab of St. Louis cut spare ribs. Now, on the top side here, there's some silver skin and stuff. If this was a competition, we'd be going through here and trying to clean all this stuff up. But I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna leave it on here because this is a backyard recipe, right? So on the back side, we only really got one more thing to do, and that's get rid of this membrane right here. And a guy showed me a trick one time. There's a couple ways of doing it. You can peel this back right here, grab it with a paper towel and pull it off. But if you're like me and you don't have no paper towels, you take the end of a fork or a spoon and right on a bone, any of them, you just kind of gouge in there until you find that. Now we're gonna work alongside that bone as we go until I can get my finger in there. And I just kind of push down in the meat and kind of do like that. Just a circular motion. You don't want to tear through the membrane, all right? Once you get about right there, just kind of wiggle sideways a bit, stick your finger in there, and then you can do the same thing. Push your fingernail down and pull up underneath of that membrane a little bit at a time until you make it all the way across. And then about right there, of course, I tore through, and you pull. Okay, so we got that silver skin pulled off, that membrane there. Now they'll be able to bite through and they won't have to pull like leather when they're biting through that. Now I'm gonna do the rest of these ribs, and then we'll come back and we'll start seasoning, huh? we're gonna use oink, is what we're gonna use. And he told me, he said, just use it like it is. He said, you don't need nothing else. And then one more thing I use is I always keep a pan around because rub's expensive. And you know, I can just flip that rib over and catch all that rub and stuff. So anyway, real simple process. You can oil this down, you can put mustard on it, you can use olive oil, whatever you want to do. You can just go with it and not put anything on like I'm doing today. This is backyard ribs anyway. And then I always start on the back side. That way I don't have to touch them after I flip them over. And you know, just to come up off of there a little bit and I'll sprinkle. Just keep a motion side to side going. And then you can go back over if you have a light spot or something. And what you're gonna do, we're gonna let that rub sweat. But I push on it first before I flip. That way that rub will emulsify and start to suck into the meat. Now we can just set that one there off to the side. Okay, so now we got these ribs rubbed down with our rub. We're just doing that one flavor profile. Eric has won more money with that rub than most people I know. So here in a minute, we're gonna come back and we're gonna put another little coat on this after it sweats for just a second. In the meantime, our charcoal's still lighting over there, and we should be ready to light this drum here in just a minute. Okay guys, that's good enough on our charcoal here. You can see how it's kind of got the black salt and pepper kind of a look. All I do, you want to make sure and keep your arm out of the way. So I put the charcoal chimney in like this and I get down close to that basket, and then I literally just rotate it and pull up. So if you rotate it like that, keep your arm out of the way, you won't get burned. Then you can take a knife or something and just kind of sort your charcoal out just a little. You know, now we're burning from the top down. I'm gonna put the old super tuner in there. So on the Draftmaster drum, that combination of the heat shield, the block off plate, the charcoal basket, and this super tuner plate, that's what makes everything work right. So you'll be able to leave this lid open longer since we have that plate right there. It gives you enough restriction that you're not going to have this big massive rocket stove running. Now we're going to close the lid and let it come up to temp. Just going to open that smokestack, and on these here, these are the regular Arian ones. These are not the uprights. On these little side mounts, you just need like your finger in there. We're going to try to get up around 300, 275 to 300 on the thermometer, and then it'll be time to hang some ribs.
What is this, Frank?
This is our rib hanger. So we've got rib hangers, and now we got our own hooks, but we went a little step extra. We made these rib hanger hooks thinner than what's out there, because the other ones are like 1/4 inch rod and stuff. They're just too thick. But when you're hanging, you just like that right there. That's why our hooks have a different bend on one end. So it goes over the top of that, and then you got the 45 for the other end. So here in a minute, these crow's feet, we're gonna set this down in that drum here in a minute when it gets to temp. These crow's feet sit right on top of those bolts in the barrel. So this is our rib hanger. Anyway, that crow's foot just goes right down on top. And now we're gonna hang some ribs, ready? So we go on the big end of the rib. We hook underneath of that bone right there with our hook, just like that. This is the correct side. Right there. So now we wait. We clean up my mess and we watch the cooker, and literally you don't have to refuel this cooker. This thing will run for 20 hours like that. So we only need like 3, 4 maybe. We're just going to maintain a setting on these air inlets, and this right here is all we got to do to keep that dial at the right temperature. So if the temperature spikes, I'm going to close this down a little bit, just like a little bit. If the temperature drops, I'm going to open the air inlet.
So Frank, is this about ready?
You bet. I did the old temperature check a second ago and we're right at about 170. That's where I like to be whenever I'm ready to wrap. You go two ways. You can go by temperature or you can go by color before you wrap. If you're doing contests, you're worried about that red color, what you're shooting for. If you're not, then we don't care. We're looking for eaters on the backyard side of things. So now we got to do this thing we call wrapping. Not like a music thing, but like wrapping them up in foil, right? And so rule number one of a drum smoker is you don't want to have this lid just hanging open. Like you got to move and get your stuff out, you know, back and forth. So I got this nice, good, clean plastic table here. And I got my wrapping ingredients things. So I'm gonna pull out a piece of foil to work on here. All right, just to kind of help keep the mess cleaned up. I'm gonna use this cutting board just to kind of hold down the paper. As we go, we're gonna do the whole butter, brown sugar. You can use honey or whatever, but I'm gonna use some tiger sauce, the old Johnny Trigg method. So the next step here is we're gonna foil these things. We're gonna put our cooking rack in, and then we're gonna set them in there, lay them down in there, staggered. Let the smoke clear just a minute. Now the super tuner baffle helps prevent like the chimney effect from rising as bad as it normally does on other cookers, on other drum cookers. You can see our color there.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get these out and set them on here. And what happens is you'll see at the bottom down here, there's a little bit of a crust. That's from that fat rendering and walking its way down. Look at that one. That red on there, boy. Look at that one there. That's pretty. You can do as much as you want here. I just tend to do like, I actually wound up cooking the whole case of ribs, so you guys just seen 4 slabs a while ago. With just a little bit of butter, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of tiger sauce. Put them ribs on there face down. Do another pat of butter up on top. And then you don't need to put a lot on this side. Just a tiny bit of tiger sauce there. Now we wrap him up. What I like to do is make a boat. Roll it up. Be careful that your bones don't poke a hole in the side. Just like that. Now that one can go back in whenever we're ready to put it in. Check your foil for holes, you know. All right, guys, this is the last slab. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stack these ribs in there in a crisscross fashion, right on the cooking grate. We're gonna give them about a half hour. Then I'm gonna rotate them. There we go. Now we just wait.
Been 30 minutes already?
Yeah. Well, it's the second 30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is it. This is what we've been working so hard for all day long, all day. You ready? We're gonna see if they got any flex to them. Get our lid closed. So, we'll set these off to the side because they need to be a little bit longer in the cooker. Let's look at what one of the bottom ones look like. Look at that. Pulled way back. There. Not as much hang, but yeah, they feel like they still got a little bit of tight to them. Now the goal for me with ribs is when I bite in there, I want to have a tooth mark and a clean bone pull. And if I bite into that one there, it's too tough if there's meat stuck on the bone, right? So I don't want it to fall off, but I want it to pull clean. So here I go. So we're not quite there. Want to see this, Gabe? So it's pretty. Let's see what Uncle Bub's got to say for himself here. Like I said, this is my buddy Uncle Bub. It was Eric Burkhart. up in Jeff City there, Eugene, Missouri. They may suck. That tastes like everybody else's barbecue at the contest I always cooked, right? Mine never tasted like that back in the day. Eric's got this sauce and rub thing figured out. I'm gonna take, now what we do is we take a bite from the other side and we see if the rest of the meat stays on the bone. Because if you did, that means you didn't overcook it. If it all pulls off, then we got problems. So here you go, ready?
All right, here we go.
Uh-oh. So, counting the slab that we ate in front of you just a minute ago, that was a full case of ribs that we cooked on this drum smoker, and we cooked them in 3 hours. The thing about these drum smokers is that they're so consistent. Like, you know, this may look like I'm chilling out today, but this is actually a work day. You know, I've been in there working all day long while this thing's been running when I was off camera. So I didn't have to come out here and put fuel in the drum all the time. All of the stuff that you want a pellet cooker for, you don't need it. You can get the same results, or you get better results out of this drum smoker than you can on a pellet cooker, but you can get the same results as far as like ease of use, you know, like everything, all the reasons you want electronics. You don't need it. You literally just set your finger in that air damper down there and you get that temperature set, and we're dead on 300. We've been 300 the whole time. And it won't go above it if I don't want it to. So anyway, you've seen this whole journey from the beginning where we went and found a barrel, and then you saw where we took it back here and we burned it out, and then we cleaned it up, and then we marked out the barrel in 2 more videos, and then we drilled all the holes and we painted it up, you know, and then we put this barrel together today, and now you see we just cooked ribs on it. You can get a cheap barrel and get the kit, and you can build it yourself, and you get these same results that we're getting here with these ribs. Look at that. Dang. I mean, seriously. Look at the hang on that slab of ribs in 3 hours. So anyway, I encourage you, just go ahead and take the time and you know, build yourself one of these cookers. You will not regret it. Go to our website, smokerbuildermfg.com. You can go through there and get a kit, or you can get parts, or heck, I can build it for you if you want. And get yourself into a live fire situation. Now, I'm going to sauce these ribs, and I'm going to eat the first bone right in front of you. Here you go. Sounds like the boys are coming.
Yeah, party's here.
Got you a good picture?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good, guys. Well, hey, like and subscribe to this channel, and make sure, and if you're not subscribed to the email list, make sure you get on our email list, because that's where like all the good deals and stuff happen on there. You get something every day from me. So anyway, guys, till next time, keep your smoke thin and blue, right? Here we go. There you go. That one fell off the bone.